Hey guys, how's it going? For this film study video, I'm going to be talking about something which I call distance deception, or the concept or the skill or the technique of being able to use your fighting position or your fighting stance in the ring to create the illusion of being closer to or further away from your opponent. Very valuable skill. A lot of fighters don't do this today, unfortunately. Obviously, you know the likes of Floyd Mayweather, Bernard Hopkins, Erik Lara, Guillermo Rigondeaux. These guys all use these techniques because this really is boxing 101. So I'm going to break it down in this video. So now you're going to be seeing Floyd perform the pull counter a couple times. You know, it really is amazing because we've seen Floyd do this move over and over and over again and over again. And you would think that by now people would have figured this out. But the reason why you can never figure this out is because it's the result of distance deception. I'm going to explain that to you. Because he baits them into shooting that jab, which he's then aiming to counter, you see, because the counter puncher sets you up for his counters. And this is all a result of distance deception. Okay, so I've gone ahead and made this image so you guys can, more easily understand what I'm talking about. The red line is the position of the boxer's head. The green line is the position of his gloves. And the yellow line is where the boxer's lead foot is. So as you can clearly see from the image, if you look at Marcos Maidana first, over on your left, you can see that the distance between his head, his gloves, and his lead foot is virtually very uniform. You can see that it's basically the same, roughly the same distance between the center line of his head, his gloves, and his lead foot. This is the modern traditional boxing stance. Okay, very uniform. Now come over to look at Floyd over on your right hand side. Now he's setting up the pull counter in this position. Now notice how Floyd's head is perfectly in line with both his lead foot and his gloves. All right, if you look at Floyd, you can see the distance between all three of those points is negligible. It's non-existent, which is trying to show you something, because this stance is actually distance deception. What this stance is doing is it makes Floyd appear closer to Marcos Maidana than he actually is, because the purple line you're seeing on the screen is actually where Floyd's head would be in a traditional boxing stance, which Marcos Maidana is in. That's where Floyd's head center line should actually be, but you can see from his back being curved that he's leaning in, right? And you can also see that his gloves are level with his head. This creates a very deceptive image, because he's appearing closer to you, whereas he's not actually as close as he appears, right? So this is going to bait Maidana to shoot the jab in an attempt to catch Floyd. But all Floyd has to do, because Floyd is only leaning in, is pull back. And when he pulls back, his head will actually get to that purple line. When Floyd pulls back using his hips, his head actually gets into that center line, the purple line, and it exposes Maidana, because Maidana has now committed and Floyd only has to come back with his right cross. So you see how this works. This is a distance deception. He appears closer to draw the jab from Maidana, hoping to then counter the jab with his right cross. Okay, now let's take a look at this image here. Here we have Erik Lara versus Saul Canelo Alvarez. Here you have again the same red line is the center line position of the boxer's head. The green line is the center line position of the boxer's gloves. The yellow line is his lead foot. Now you saw Floyd appearing closer to Maidana, baiting the jab. Here you have the exact opposite. Here you have Erik Lara appearing further away from Canelo. Notice the distance, right? Look at Lara. Look at the lines on Lara's left-hand side of the picture. Notice the distance between the red line of Lara's head and the yellow line of Lara's lead foot. Look how huge that distance is. And notice also the distance between Lara's gloves, the green line, and his head, the red line, you can see the distance is very small. Lara is actually tucking his gloves into his body. He's bringing his gloves into his body, close to his head, right? And look at his lead foot. It's far away from his head, right? There's a great distance between Lara's head and his lead foot, which is a yellow line. Conversely, or on the flip side, look at Canelo. Now, Canelo, I mean, just like Marcus Maidana, see, they're training these fighters to do things a certain way. Look at the red line of Canelo, his head, the center line. Look at the green center line of Canelo's gloves, and look at the yellow center line of Canelo's lead foot. Can you see that they are basically uniform? Can you see that the distance between the yellow, green, and the red lines on Canelo's side is virtually the same? This is the traditional modern boxing stance. It's uniform, right? And look at the difference between Lara's head position, the red line, and Lara's lead foot. That gap actually makes Lara appear further away from Canelo than he actually is. You know the real way to tell how close two fighters are to each other? It's the lead foot. Look at Lara's lead foot, the yellow line of Lara's side, and look at Canelo's yellow line. Can you see that the distance isn't that much? Lara is only inches away from Canelo. He's only inches away from Canelo. But Canelo thinks he's safe because Lara has actually moved his body away from Canelo. Can you see how he's using distance deception to appear further away from Canelo when he's actually right in front of Canelo? Because it's the yellow lines you use to judge distance. It's the lead foot position. It's not the head. People watching at home think it's the head. It's the feet. It's footwork. Canelo is right in front of Lara, but he doesn't know because Lara's pulled back. And Lara is going to use this style of distance deception to actually make Canelo rest and think he's safe going to a resting position. And then he's able to spring his attack and get in and get out quickly. This is the opposite of what Floyd was doing, where Floyd was actually baiting the attack by appearing closer to his opponent when he's actually further away. And this is all boxing 101, which these technical skill fighters know.
Yeah, niggas talk to me about fire. Told my niggas I'm be rich, they call me lyte. And now they fan fame, but get burnt playing with this lighter. I come through late nights with this 40 and bright they night up.